Chloe, welcome to the Marketing for Business podcast.
Thank you very much for having me.
No, awesome. Look, I'm excited for this chat. You're right in the depth of IT recruitment. There's so much going on in that space, but one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you today is you're really, really good at being on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And I wanted to have a chat because I think LinkedIn is a really cool platform for business owners. And this audience here are business owners, so we're going to dig right into that. But hey, let's take it back. You're originally from France?
Sure am.
Nice.
Yeah.
Whereabouts in France are you from?
Just outside of Paris, next to Disneyland.
Oh, really?
Southeast, yeah.
Oh, wow. And then I did read that you were living in, is it New Caledonia?
Yeah, I did, yeah. So I had the bright idea to graduate during the GFC back in Europe, so I couldn't find work. And I needed to do a 6-month internship to finish my master's degree.
Oh.
Couldn't find anything back home. Got an offer from this place that was based in France, but they had mining sites. They were catering for mining sites. And so they had a site in New Caledonia that needed someone. So I went, sure, I'll go there and do 6 months. And then the next thing you know, it was 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, never
So
left.
what were you doing?
I was the HR manager for the catering company that was catering for the mining site.
Oh, wow.
So it was a nickel mine. And when I started on site, I think we had about 500-600 people. And by the time we left, we had 2,000.
Wow. And so you were the HR manager through that whole time?
Yeah.
And is that what you studied? Obviously, you did a master's in...
So I've got 2 masters. So I did a master's in HR and in labor law.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and started my career in HR. Always wanted to be in recruitment and training. L&D was kind of the two verticals that I wanted to get into. And yeah, started internally, and then
At what age did you decide, look, I want to get into this space, like into HR? Was it you had a love of people, or like what was something in you that decided that's the kind of career path I want to go down?
yeah, it was more. I don't know. It was a bit of a process of elimination, to be honest. So I started in law because I always thought I wanted to be a criminal lawyer.
Oh, wow.
And literally within the first few months, I went, no, I don't want to do that anymore. So I went into business law, realized I didn't like business law, pivoted into labor law because I had an interest in it.
Yep.
And then after my master's in law, realized I didn't want to be a lawyer. And so I went, well, how can I use, I know, how can
How many years did you spend figuring that out?
5.
Wow.
Yeah, and my last
kudos
year
to you,
was
though, like
let's
that's-
just it was a process of elimination and trying to find out. I mean, I got into university at 17. You don't know what you want in life at 17,
true.
so it was kind of working things out. But at the same time, I didn't want to lose the studies that I had done, and so just kept building onto that.
I was talking to a young girl at the start of this week. So Amelia, if you listen to this part of the episode, what Chloe's just said is what you've been thinking about, right? And I just said to her, she's young. You don't actually have to make too many decisions right now. You could go and test stuff and find out what it is for you. And I think that's the gift of being young, right? You can actually do that. I think a lot of people, young people, have those pressures of, oh, I've got to be doing this or I've got to do that. But you studied for 5 years and found, hey, that's not for me. But I don't think you'd regret it at all, though, would you?
No, because everything I studied brought me to what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
So it was eventually, it was steps, sometimes a little bit sideways, but it was steps to get me to a point. But also, I think nowadays, careers are way less linear than what they were. You know, our parents' age, our parents were getting into a job and they were there for 30 years.
My dad worked for the same place for 47 years.
Exactly. There you go. Whereas now you can do something and then you can pivot and reconvert yourself at 40, 45 and do something completely different. So
Too right.
that's okay.
So how did you find the transition? I always find this an interesting question. How did you find the transition from studying to now then working? And obviously, we're going to talk about, for young people later on listening, how about finding jobs and ways to get to the front of the queue and stuff. You know, you didn't find any jobs in your home country, so you go to New Caledonia, and obviously they speak French and all that sort of stuff. So there's no. But how different did you find it, and what were some of the challenges that you came through there?
Well, there were a couple. So first going from living in a city to moving to a mining site, 20,000 kilometers away from home without family or anything. So there was a big adjustment in that. And also for anyone that's working the mines, you know that it's kind of its own place, its own world. But the transition, I find that as students, and I still find it with some students that I see coming out of uni now, we're very sheltered from what the reality of working is. And I had to grow up
Yeah.
very quickly.
Yeah.
I had to put some big girl pants on real quick and just learn, that you are accountable for your mistakes and your decisions, and not everybody is going to be here to help you. You can't necessarily rely on a book or the library or anything like that to help you. And
Totally.
the decisions that you make, I'll always remember, because I was in charge of the hiring and firing. I had to to fire this girl one day because her attendance was very, very poor. We had gone through the process and we had done, the warnings and all that. And so it came to the point where we had to let her go. And on the day I let her go, I'll never forget her face. She had 2 black eyes because she was actually being beaten up by her husband. And so, we tried to provide help and all that, but there's only so much that we could do. And it was me at my almighty 22-year-old that had to deliver that news to this girl, knowing perfectly well where I was sending her back to. And so, that's the way where you go. I want to do more. I want to do what I can, but then you also have an employee that says, well, no, these are the results I need to have and I need to achieve. So you have to grow up very quickly.
Very, very quickly, right? And like at the end of the day, you're human too, right? So it kind of pulls at your heartstrings, but hey, you're there to do a job. And I don't know, like sometimes some people you can't actually save them either, right? And that's the hard part about working for a corporate too. I remember I saw 250 people get fired in about a heartbeat, or made redundant, and it was brutal because we were standing to the side with a commercial and we were safe. And the guy goes, "Oh, and you guys are safe. Get back to work." And I was like, "Whoa, all these other people made redundant," and it is brutal, right? In that space, especially when you have that volume of people, like 2,000 people. That's a lot of people, right? So you can't have favorites. You can't play, but that's happening to her, so you can't just keep her there, right?
No, and at the time it was also about setting an example, and attendance was a very, very big thing for people on site. And so, there's a point where, and again, we really tried, but there's a point where you just go, wait, you're only showing up half of the time. We will have to find someone that is going to be there all the time, and but it was just awful because
rough to have at 22, right?
It was there was nothing in my entire HR training, that prepared me for being able to do that. So it's
the coalface, right?
I just went back to my container and had a bit of a cry, and just go back to work the next day. Thing.
Hey, so then you're there for 2 years, and then you make your way to a little old country called New Zealand.
Yep.
How did you came on a work visa, and then you've been here, and now you're a citizen?
Yep. So I came here on a working holiday visa. I was supposed to do a year here and then go to Brisbane because I had some friends from home that lived over there, and I knew quite a few people, and so I thought, I'll do my working holiday visa in New Zealand. It was about a year after the earthquake, so I knew I was going to get some work. And it's been 14 years. Never left.
So now you obviously own a business, and that, what did you love about Christchurch specifically, and deciding to settle here?
It was a few different things. I'm very much into my outdoors, so the access to everything, an hour from the mountain, the beach, and everything. And I don't know, I think Christchurch, just after the earthquake, was very full of possibilities. It sounds very cliche to say that, but
it was.
It was. There were a lot of stuff that we knew. There was always a new place, always a new restaurant, always a new building that was going, and it was really, really exciting. And at the time, I was recruiting in construction, and so I was sort of involved in that, and it was quite cool to be going into the buildings that were being built, and so there was that excitement. Obviously, I'm measuring my words here because I'm very conscious about what happened, but it was very much a once in a lifetime opportunity from a career perspective to be involved in something like that, and quote unquote, even though I didn't do it with my own hands, but help rebuild a city.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it was really exciting.
Christchurch was buzzing. And obviously now still benefiting out of that, and obviously in an interesting place going forward. there's a lot more development still happening. But you know, I always kudos to people that stuck around in Christchurch, you know, because lots of people did leave because it wasn't the easiest place to you know be still working and stuff. You know, there's still stuff going on, but exciting times. So you worked for someone, and then when did you decide, right, I want to start my own gig?
I never decided.
decided?
Good no, it was decided for me.
Oh,
So
wow.
I was so in 2019 I decided to change job. So in September 2019 I moved to another agency.
Yep.
And I had a 6 months restraint of trade that took me to February 2020.
Oh, wow.
And I was in my official job for 3 weeks, and then we went into lockdown.
Oh, wow.
And
Oh.
I just knew I
Yeah.
wasn't going to keep my
Yeah,
job.
yeah,
It
yeah.
was, you know, and so I went, well, what do I do? Because by the time I officially lost my job, it was around August, September. And so we were still in the thick of the pandemic.
Yep.
And nobody was hiring recruiters.
No.
But also
No one was
after
doing anything.
no one was doing anything, that's right. But also after 8 years of working for big corporate agencies, I just didn't like it.
Yep.
It just wasn't me. And I thought about leaving the industry.
Okay.
So I was even applying for, you know, business development roles
Yep.
or that sort of things outside of the recruitment industry. But I really, really love my job. And so I ended up deciding that I didn't want to leave the industry. And so I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to do it for a few months by myself, just up until I can get a job again, you know. And let's do it for 5 years.
So it's been 5 years, and we're going to unpack that because that's interesting, right? Like, so you didn't really, it wasn't like you set out to be a business owner, but you decided to give it a go because things started to happen, like kind of like an accidental business owner to some degree.
Yeah.
Are you glad that you never found that job?
Yes. My life would be very, very different if I wasn't working for myself. I think the opportunities that I created for myself, it's just been insane. You know, things like my, obviously I'm from overseas. My entire family is back in France. And before I was self-employed, I was going home once every 2-3 years for about 3 weeks. Whereas now that I'm working for myself, I can go home once a year for a couple of months because I can work remotely. You know, it's particularly important because my mom got diagnosed with a terminal illness, and for the last few years of her life, I was able to go back and spend that time, and I was actually home when she passed, which is super important. You know,
that's nice.
When you live
not nice that she passed.
No.
Be there, right?
When you live overseas, it's not a guarantee. No. Usually, you get that phone call and you have to rush into the plane. You know,
you're lucky. Yeah,
exactly.
Totally.
So I've been very lucky to be able to do that.
So it's kind of a gift in a way, right?
100%.
Yeah. When you thought of getting into, obviously you're in recruitment, but you're thinking of getting in, you started IT and tech recruitment. Why in that space? Why not go into the space that you already knew with the likes of the trades and stuff?
So I had already moved into the tech space in 2018. We're doing it for someone else. Originally, I was asked to move in the tech space, so to start the tech desk for the agency that I was working for. I went in sort of reluctantly, I'm not going to lie, because I had no knowledge. Well, the only knowledge of the IT industry or tech industry I had was from my brother being in IT. And I thought I'm going to have to work with dorks like that, you know? So, and again, it was a bit of a penny drop moment. The agency I was working for used to sponsor an award at the High Tech Awards. And so that year they were at Christchurch, and so I was asked to go to represent, you know, our company. And I went dragging my feet, I'm not gonna lie, and I honestly had to eat a little piece of humble pie because once the event was phenomenal, and then just discovering about all those amazing companies that do such awesome stuff, and just started getting a little bit more into it and realized that it was way bigger than I thought, and
How good is that?
Never doing anything else.
One thing I heard there as well is, you know, like going to something, putting yourself out there. And I think that's a really, really key thing in life, right? Like, even if you don't like it, put yourself out there, get in front of things and let those things allow you to make your mind up, good or bad. At least be involved in the conversation. The cool thing about the tech space in New Zealand, it's bigger than you think it is,
100%.
and it's more exciting than you think it is.
100%.
You know, and I think that's the cool thing about like what we've got going on here in New Zealand, right?
Yeah.
Oh well, so okay, cool. So then you start, and one of the things I want to talk about because exo recruitment, and I wanted to talk about because I read on your website, and I've asked a few people around and stuff about the company. One of the cool things that you talk about is your purpose, your core values, and your vision. Because I really, and I speak to lots of people about this, and I think it's one thing that people, you know, when they have a business, if a business doesn't go as well as it could do, it's probably because the vision, the purpose, and the core values aren't as strong, or they just haven't gone into any detail into them. Where did you start to learn about that and start to implement it in your business? Because you know, you started your business accidentally, but it looks like you actually put some really good things together. So 5 years later, that's no small feat. You're still going, and you've got a good reputation in the marketplace. So where did you start to learn that type of stuff from?
Originally, because I worked for big corporates, I was someone that thought, you know, the values is something cool that the marketing team has come up with that you slap on a wall and that nobody cares about. You know, I genuinely thought it was a marketing thing.
Yeah.
You know? And so a couple of years into the business, because I, you know, pretty much I feel like I'm still doing it, but flying by the seam of my pants.
We
you
all
know?
are. Honestly, every business owner will talk to that space. We're still building the plane as we're flying. You know?
Fair.
It's no one has it worked.
No. And so, but I then realized that there was kind of a structure in how I was operating, and I'm very big on values personally speaking. That I will choose a hill and I will die on it. And so I realized that I was very much operating the same way in business. And I thought, you know what? Maybe actually instead of thinking about values and then applying them to my business, how about I think about what I do day to day, and then draw values and purpose out of that,
Love it.
and then come up with words. And yes, I have put my values on the wall in my office, and they are sitting there, but they're not made up values. It's literally who I am as a person.
Ours are on the wall. We talk about them every day, every Friday is core value in action. You know, I'm a massive believer in them. If you keep them alive, they can really, really help you grow a business. You can hire and fire on them. And you can have steadfast conversations that probably you wouldn't have if you didn't have core values. So, hey, take me through some of them, because I like the honesty one, but I was like honesty, but then I read the caption underneath.
No bullshit.
Yeah.
No bullshit. Yeah, that's probably my favorite one. And the reason for that is because recruitment agencies, I think the recruitment agencies as an industry, they're often not liked. We don't have a good reputation in the market. And the reason for that, I don't think there's a single reason. I think there's a lot of different factors that are at play here. Big agencies being quite money driven, therefore becoming very transactional. They will all tell you that they do things differently, they care and all that, but ultimately, you know, you have to make money, because if not, you're told that that's right. If not, you're going to be losing your job, and your job that you're being put on the pip. So, you know, so there's a lot of different reasons that I think have kind of ruined the industry. And so one of the things that I found talking to people that didn't want to work with recruitment agencies is that because they felt that quite often we were dishonest.
Okay.
Either about the roles that we actually had, and we would, when I say we, obviously I don't mean, but the role that we would tell candidates that we had where actually we didn't have them, or what we were promising to companies and then we'd end up under delivering. And so there was this general distrust of recruiters. And so I don't lie. It's something that I don't like. the only time that I want to be lied to, and if I ask if my jeans make me look fat, and that's pretty much it. So if not, don't lie to me. Exactly. I'm a big girl, I can take the feedback. And so I very much operate the same way.
How does that come across to people when you're talking to business owners that you're wanting to do some work for and pick up their business? And then on the flip side, how does that translate to people coming to you looking for work? Do people like that? Do people get it?
Very much.
And do you find you attract a certain type of person?
Yes.
On both sides?
Yes.
Yes.
I very much and that's
what core values are about.
Exactly. Right? And that's very much another good thing about being in business as well, is that I get to work with the people that I want to work with.
Yeah.
I get to say no.
Yeah.
And so if there are people that, come up to me, whether they're looking for work or they are looking to hire someone and the values don't align, or they try, I've had someone a very long time ago that said, oh, we don't want women, or but don't say that on the advert. I'm like,
what?
Not quite my thing.
No.
So, that sort of things where there's that honesty piece where I can go around and say, that is not for me.
Yeah.
I am not the person to be recruiting for this position because you basically doing something illegal, and I refuse to do it.
Yes.
And therefore the people that I work with, they're people that I can have those open and honest conversations, that I can go in and say, you know what, I think you framed that role wrong. I think the job description you gave me and what you tell me you need don't match. Let's have a talk. Nice. And they'll take that feedback on board. And it's the same thing with candidates where I go, you're telling me that this is what you can do and you want that much money. Let's just reframe things because I think there is a mismatch there.
Yeah.
Or actually, I don't think that you're suited for this position, but let's have a talk about something else that could potentially work for you. And people receive that well.
Yeah. And that's what I talked about before, about how our core values can allow you to frame conversations in a way, because lots of the times we have conversations, one of their core values is address the elephant, eat the frog. And so you can address an elephant in the room, right? And where normally you couldn't, but under a core value, people know, oh, we're addressing an elephant here, and we're going to it's going to be tough because we're going to have to eat that frog.
Yeah.
And where before it's like, well, actually, I need to talk to you about something, but I don't really know how to talk to you about it. So that's what a core value can allow you to do, and that's what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
How did you come up with them? I like how you said this is the way you do stuff. So let's put a name on that. Did you just go through and did you decide, right, because I think you've got 6, right? Did you just go through, these are the 6 things I really stand for and believe in?
No, I had some help. I was doing a mentorship program through the RCSA.
Good. What's that?
So that's the Recruitment and Consulting Association of New Zealand and Australia. So it's not an official body because, well, it is an official body, but that governs the best practice of the industry. It's not mandatory for a recruiter to be a member of it, but at the time I was. And so I was doing a mentorship program because I was working on my own, and I had kind of reached that point where I thought, I really know what I don't know, and I need a bit of help. And my mentor just helped me. So I literally just put all the ideas, sort of a jumble of words and ideas, and he helped me sort it out, and he helped me name them. But I needed that other person to have a look at it and say, can you help me just put them into little groups? Because I've got too many ideas and it's about 5 pages long. It's too much.
I highly recommend that though. Like, core values are something that you need to get clarity on, and it's probably too hard of a one to get clarity on yourself. I know we had help and we've developed them over the years too, and it is quite, I can see why people don't do them, or they choose real easy ones.
It's confronting.
It's quite confronting. Yeah, but at the same time, I wouldn't have a business without them.
No. And I every time I doubt myself, and there's a couple of stuff, for example, we have an exclusivity clause in our terms of business, and not many agencies have that, but basically it says, once you engage me to work on a job, as a company, I take that you're not working with any other agency, and you're not doing anything yourself anymore, and if you pull the role at any point, we will charge you part of the fee, because as recruiters we only paid until once
and that's fair.
Candidate's been found. but that means I can put a whole lot of work and not get paid at all.
Yeah, true.
And so I've actually lost a lot of business because of that exclusivity clause, because people are not comfortable with the idea that they don't have an option to back out. And I probably lost upwards of 50 grand in the past 12 months with a business. So that's a lot of money for a very small business. And so there's a point where I was like, should I keep doing that? Is it worth? And then you look at your values and you go, no, actually, yes, I back myself. To be able to do that. And you look at your values and no, that's why I created those. So it stacks up. It hurts every now and then, but it stacks.
Yeah, but once again, if you have your rules and you have your core values, then other people will want to be part of that as well. That's right. You're probably winning business because you do have it.
That's right.
But it's cool that you can go back to that and go, hey, actually, this is how I'm going to make a decision. And you're not like toing and froing or not making a decision, right? You're like, this is what I've done. That's very, very cool. And how do you find other people, like, when you're talking to people out there about the core values and when people ask you questions about them, like what's the feedback that you get from when you start talking about core values, especially when you're like talking to prospects that are looking to come and maybe work for you and you finding them work?
I think quite often there's a wait and see type of attitude, because once again, as I say, it's recruitment agencies don't have a good reputation. And so
that's another one.
That sometimes it's like, blah blah blah, this is what you're saying, but then once I've delivered, they go, oh, actually, what you were saying is true.
That's cool.
And so I think particularly, the no bullshit one, that is literally how it's written on our website. It says no bullshit. It says we're not here to find unicorns. That, even though that's my and rainbows. But it's those values are written the way I talk. I've not tried to make them pretty. I've not tried to make them corporate. They are written how I speak, and so people see the match and go, oh, well, actually the way that is written or the way you talk about them is the same thing. So this is very much who you are.
That's a good alignment, right?
Yeah.
Like I know ours, one of them's results not reasons, and it's really blunt around results not reasons. Like we believe business owners don't really want to know why it didn't go right. They just want the results. They actually don't want to know why it went right. They just want the results.
Yeah, that's right.
So let's not give them all the reasons. Let's just give them the results.
Yeah, that's right.
And it cuts a lot of shitty emails that you don't need to send.
Yeah.
A lot of dumb conversations you just don't need to have. And it's kind of how we are. We just focus on getting the results. We don't need you to be the reasons. Cool. It's so refreshing to talk to someone who has that and is living it, because I think a lot of business owners, it's the missing part. If they can really spend some time getting it down on paper to start with, and then getting some help, and getting it down, because it allows other people to buy into what you're doing as well, which is exciting. And gives you stuff to talk about on LinkedIn, is what we're going to talk about next. Because, look, it's not a day that goes by that I'm not on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. I love being on LinkedIn. I love putting content on LinkedIn. And I think it's one of those platforms that most business owners should be on. If you want to build a business, you need kind of a personal brand. And look, I think personal brands are being done pretty, like, some people just go on and on and on what you've got to do, and there's 100 things that you have to do. But I just think maybe you just put yourself out on LinkedIn and put some content out there to start with. So what got you interested in LinkedIn, and what are some of the things that you've learned from the platform?
So I actually started the LinkedIn profile about 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Nice. I was right at the beginning of LinkedIn when it just started cropping up, because it was there, and I was in business school at the time, and it was kind of this thing that people were started to talk about, and so I started using it that way. And then used it a little bit with recruitment. Obviously depends, because if you're working in the blue collar space, for example, recruiting tradies or things like that, well, they're not on LinkedIn, right? So it's not exactly your marketing platform. But then when I moved back into the white collar space, well, pretty much everybody is on LinkedIn now, right? So this is a very good way to market yourself. And I think when I started my own business, well, it was a way to do a lot of marketing for very little money. And also the education piece. And that's something that I'm quite big on. So I actually post 5 days a week, every single day on LinkedIn. and I've done so for years. And my goal is to try and educate job seekers and business owners to help them make better recruitment decisions.
Nice.
Because I'm very, very good at what I do, but I'm only as good as the people I work with.
Yeah.
And so it's about helping people understand it, again, around not gatekeeping that information, but helping people understand what they can do to hire better, or to have a better CV, or interview better, or have a better culture, or a more seamless recruitment process. And you talk about branding and all that, nowadays people don't just go after the salary or anything like that. They want to work with businesses that have values that they align with, that have stories that they like, that do cool stuff. And so if you don't talk about it, well, people are not going to know, right?
I find it if you have a business and you are trying to attract people, you need to be on social media. Well, it's not even social media these days, it's media. And LinkedIn is that platform where there's so many people on it that are looking. There's more people looking than actually posting and all that sort of stuff. And it's a great opportunity. I love one thing you talked about. This you can tell by your language, you're educating and helping, and that just wins. Like you can educate and help people on those platforms for free, and you can own that space of their mind share that you're a helpful and useful person, which is I want for every person that ever comes to one of our seminars and workshops. One of my goals is for you to leave being more helpful and useful to other people, because you win on platforms like LinkedIn when you start doing that. What are some of the results that you've had since you're doing that? Like 20 years, you're obviously getting some results. Otherwise, you would just not feed it.
The credibility piece is really important in the reputation. A lot. I've actually been approached a few times on the street by people that recognize me, which is very strange.
That's cool.
But yeah, like I literally was walking my dog a couple of years ago, and this woman comes to me and goes, "Are you Chloe?" And I, maybe. Who's asking? Or I go to events and people will come to me because they'll recognize me and they'll go, "Oh, that post that you wrote, I really liked it." And so it means that people know that they can ask me questions, that they can interact with what I'm going to say, and they'll get information that they need. But also they know that I know what I'm talking about.
How good.
I have that I can back up what it's saying, because a lot of what I talk about is experience based. And so
isn't that cool though? You actually go on there and you talk about what you know about.
But I've had multiple clients that sometimes either they've approached me through posts that I've made on LinkedIn, or I've cold approached them, and the first thing they do is go on my profile and check what's in there, and then they go, "Actually, yes, you have the credibility, so we'll talk to you."
That is one thing I think everyone needs to understand, is second selling is happening on social media. Especially LinkedIn. If you're in that business environment, you make a call, you get a proposal out there, the proposal's going around the board table. I guarantee you they start looking at your LinkedIn profile and 100%. Seeing who you connected with, how active you are, what you were saying, and is it in alignment with what they are trying to achieve. It's amazing what that as a platform, it's become more and more a place where not just your website, people are going actively to those sites to see who you are, where you are, and what you really have to offer.
And the thing is that it's a constant thing as well, and I say that to all the job seekers that are looking for work at the moment. If you haven't looked for work for 5 years and your LinkedIn's been dormant for 5 years, and then you unfortunately lost your job, and then you get back onto LinkedIn, the algorithm is not going to recognize you.
No.
And so the algorithm needs a lot of different things to push your content to the people that need to see that content. And so if your LinkedIn is dormant for 5 years, and then you go back in and make a post as saying, I'm open to work, nobody's going to see it. And so it's the constant thing. And a lot of companies advertise roles on LinkedIn, but then your profile needs to be up to date. It needs to have a photo. It needs the algorithm takes a lot behind it. It looks at DMs, it looks at messages, it looks at how you filled out your profile, etc., etc. So there is actually so much behind it.
Let's like, I'm gonna be greedy.
Go for it.
I'm gonna pick your brain. Because here's the thing. Okay, there's people here that'll be listening and watching this go, you know what, LinkedIn. Okay, I thought about it. Right, Scott, get Chloe to give us some things that we can do today to actually help us be better at LinkedIn. So let's start. Where do we start? Where's number one? What should we be doing?
Okay.
We're a business owner. We want to reach more people. We want to get in front. We've got some things to say.
So you're a business owner?
We're a business owner, and we've got some people. We got some things to say. We talk. We deal with the likes of the white collar, and we want to get ourselves out there.
Yeah. So imagine, treat LinkedIn like a networking event. Like you go to a networking event, you walk into the room, what's the first thing you're well presented?
Yeah.
And so having, whether it's your company page or your personal page, but having a photo,
Nice.
having a banner that...
Yeah, you wouldn't turn up to a networking event
in shorts.
Yeah.
And, those sort of stuff, my photo and my banner are created on Canva.
Yeah.
It's not,
You Canva.
You don't need to pay a graphic designer or have a professional shoot. My profile photo on LinkedIn is literally a selfie that I took in my car.
Yep.
But then I made it pretty on Canva.
Yeah.
So it's not rocket science.
Well, the thing, what I'm hearing there, you just get started with what you've got.
Yeah.
Pretty it up on Canva, but look, and there's templates on Canva. To be
100%.
honest, there's heaps of stuff. Don't overthink it. Worst case scenario, go to Fiverr, get someone to do it for you for $10. Like, it's not a barrier.
No, 100%.
But you've got to have it. Don't turn up, because there's a lot of people I meet, and even people coming for jobs. I'll go to their LinkedIn profile. There's pretty poor photo. There's no banner, and then there's nothing else.
There's also a bit of a rule on the photo that it's sort of chest. Well, you need to see the shoulders, and it's head only. I've seen people with sunglasses, for example. That doesn't tell us anything. Or they've got photos of them with their kids. Yeah. Super cute, but
this is not. This is how you turn up to a professional.
That's right. Professional networking event.
I like that. Okay, cool. That's okay. We're looking good.
Yeah. So you look good, and then after that, well, let's say you're pitching to a VC or you're pitching to try and get more clients, right? You need to have information to back. So as the same way you would have a deck, you need to have information to back what you're saying. So if you're saying, oh, we want more customers because we're the best companies at doing that and that and that. Well, if I go on your profile, I want to see this information.
Yep. Okay.
So your profile needs to be filled out with relevant information.
Yep.
You need to give examples of projects or work that you have done.
Nice.
Obviously keeping the IP and all that, but you want to give concrete examples. You don't want to say, I'm very good at accounting.
Yep. So be like specific, and here's my expertise. Here's what I'm good at doing. Here's who it helps, and here's some jobs that we've done in the past.
Yeah, that's right. And obviously the headline at the top of your LinkedIn profile is quite important as well. I see a lot of people that just have their job.
Yep. You have a lot of stuff in yours.
Yeah, I do. It's busy. But the amount of people that approach me because of this headline.
Nice. Nice.
Because mine's a little bit different. It says, the first thing it says is finder of tech unicorns and IT purple squirrels. And I have little emojis, and people go, what is this? And they come and talk to me, and that creates an icebreaker, and they engage in the conversation.
Attention and icebreaker.
That's right.
Perfect.
That's right. So do the same thing, be creative. And so you've made yourself look pretty, and you've got the pitch deck, but then you have to sell it, right? You have to talk about your pitch. And so that's all your articles, your posts.
Nice.
And it's generally that knowledge piece.
Yeah. I think this is the piece that people stumble on, right? The what to write, what to say, and putting myself out there is too scary. Like, what do you say to that? Like, creating a post, and, obviously you're doing it five days a week. Do you have themes or anything like that? Or are you just posting stuff that you're thinking about? Or where do you get that kind of inspiration? And what would you recommend for other people?
Just get it done.
Get it done?
Yeah, a bit of tough love on this one.
Yeah.
Some days I have no idea what I'm going to talk about. genuinely no idea. Now, when I get an idea, and it could be I've read an article or something popped up or something happened to me and I'm like, oh, that could be content, I'll have a little folder on OneNote where I just write things like bullet points. So
your brain's always scanning for ideas.
It's always scanning
and
for ideas.
I think if you're a business owner, and this is why when we do our workshops, I always say to people at the start, I'm going to give you another part-time role. And like you've got a full-time job, and now you're in a part-time role. And that part-time role is to become a marketer. And the reason I want you to become a part-time marketer is because marketers are curious. They ask why. They look at things and go, how come people are doing this way? Or what if I could do it that way? And I think that's what you're talking about there is going through your day and seeing things happening, being curious about that and writing it down. Oh, I could write something about that. Or I could create a video on that.
At the same time, I keep it real. I think everybody's seen that post of this guy that got engaged. I think it was last year. And he proposed to his girlfriend. Did you see that?
No, missed it.
So he proposed to his girlfriend on the beach, and he posted this very beautiful photo of him down on one knee proposing to his girlfriend. And the post is something like, "Oh, what proposing to my girlfriend taught me about B2B sales."
No.
And the post is cringe. It is awful, and he was dead serious about it. And it was so bad. But then from there's a lot of spoof content that came out of that. And I created one.
Yeah.
And so you can use that as well to be like, don't write that.
Yeah.
So you want that people interact with content that's genuine.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I foster cats. And sometimes I post about my cats.
Nice.
And that's it, because I have no other idea for the day, and so I'm going to put a photo of my cat. And
that's real, right?
Yeah, it's real, and I'm not going to try and make it relevant to recruitment. I'm literally just saying, look at my cats, they're cute.
The interesting thing with people, though, people buy from people they know, like, and trust.
Yes.
And I always talk about, to you, like is about chemistry, right?
Yeah.
And you can actually manufacture chemistry. And when I think about this, because I was talking to a real estate agent, and wanted more listings, etc. And I said to her, so what happens when you get a listing? Like when you've sold the listing, what goes on? And she just said to me, oh, look, if they have a dog, I'll get the listing. I said, why is that? She goes, oh, well, I'll go in and I'll see the dog and I make a beeline for the dog and I'm petting the dog and I'm the dog. And I was like, yeah, so can you see what's happening there? And she goes, well, I just like dogs. Yeah, I said, but what are the people that have the listing like? Oh, they like the dog too, right? So all of a sudden that chemistry has created. So when I said to her, you need to use a dog in marketing more, because you'll attract people who like dogs. Dog lovers like dog lovers and all that sort of stuff. So cats can do the same, right? There'll be a certain amount of people out there that'll like cats. And by using it in your marketing, it creates chemistry. And it's not a like, hey, look at me. It's just one of those subtle things that goes under the radar, and all of a sudden, you have that bond. Another piece of things, something that you're bonding with someone with, chemistry, and it's there's so many ways you can use that. And
one of the best performing, so on LinkedIn, there's some rules, and that's numbers that are probably a couple of years old, so don't quote me on this, but there's something like, if you just write a post or just words, if you use a carousel to add to it, same thing, you can just use a template on Canva, there's plenty, it gets 30% more views, and if you use a selfie, it gets 60% more views. So the algorithm puts people first, and so if you have a selfie, it recognizes a person, and so it pushes the post. And one of the top performing content I've had over the past 12 months was when I posted about my 5-year business anniversary.
Yep.
And it's literally a very bad grainy selfie because my phone is dying a very slow and painful death. It's a very bad selfie of me in front of my mirror with my cat, in gym gear and pajamas, no makeup on, nothing, and just saying, yay, 5 years.
5 years.
And that was some of the biggest interactions. I think I got like 120 likes or something. It just went over the charts.
How good.
Because people were first they saw me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna believe that it's for me and not for the cat, even though the cat's super cute. But they were like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I relate to that because that's success and that's graft, and let's just celebrate that.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a cool, and let's celebrate it. And you know what? It's not a manufactured freaking photo.
No.
You know, popping bottles of champagne and all that sort of stuff. It's just real.
It's not me in the
Yeah.
first class or
Yeah.
in a private jet, heading to my boat on the Greek marina.
I
Like,
just saw something online before coming on to the podcast. You can influencers paying like $60, and you can rent this room that's like a jet. And you come in, and for $60 an hour, you can get your photos. And I was like, oh man, where's the world going to? That is so sad.
there is so many manufactured content, like a lot of content on LinkedIn. It's the same thing as Instagram and Facebook and or TikTok. It's curated, it's created, and it's what people want you to see, right?
Yeah.
And so, it's it's the hustle bros.
Yeah.
What LinkedIn.
What do you think of, like, obviously writing? Then you got your posts, like your selfies and stuff. What do you think about video content? Where should people be doing and looking at videos?
Video content on LinkedIn is a little bit funny. So for about, I think it was 9 months, LinkedIn trialed a video feed. That's so kind of like Instagram.
Yep.
But they canned it maybe 3-4 months ago. So that doesn't exist anymore. And since that video feed's gone, I have tried doing a little bit of video content and it's not performed as well.
Doesn't go as good there.
So I do it only on short form. So it has to be 30-second, less than a minute tops. And I just do it to kind of change it up.
Nice.
So yeah, I think ultimately, particularly if people are following you, they don't want to see the same thing all the time. And so the same way I would not post, even though I know I get more traction and more visibility if I post a selfie, for example, I'm not going to post a selfie under every single one of my posts.
No.
First, because I hate taking selfies and I can't be bothered. But also, I don't want that to be the reason why people look at my posts. So switch it up.
Yeah. A couple of things I heard there that I think are really, really relevant for people when you're posting is consistency, right?
Yes.
Like, commit to being consistent. If I can say anything, like, that's the thing that has allowed, digital influence to grow. It's allowed my personal brand to grow. It's just been consistent, turning up, day in, day out. And I always say consistency of message will frequency reach become relevant. It's just what happens. Being frequent and being consistent, it works. I like the swapping it up, having different styles of posts. I think that's really important. You do that really, really well. And then the educational piece. Where do you draw the line around what you teach, or you do not draw the line? Do you just teach and educate as much as you can, or do you hold some stuff back?
No, I educate as much as I can, because I guess my business, what people pay me for, is not just the education piece. Obviously, I do that as part of my service, but it's not the main purpose of my service, if that makes sense. So I don't really draw the line anywhere. What I refuse to do is create content that I know is going to generate engagement if I don't believe in it. So if you go particularly on TikTok,
clickbait stuff.
Clickbait stuff. So if you go on TikTok, the best performing type of like recruitment / HR content is the how to lie on your CV to get the job. There's a couple of creators that are specialists at that. Or how to get the upper hand in a salary negotiation and that sort of thing. So it's all about how to screw over the person that you're talking to, and that I refuse to do.
There's no future in that.
Even though I know that that's the content, because it's clickbait, that's the content that's going to get views and that's going to get engagement and that's going to get like, I'm not interested.
But the thing is, and I have this bugbear, and I actually talked to Kushak the other day on the podcast, so many people talk about this having to go viral and stuff. And then, we put out a video, we talked about, you don't actually need to go viral. You actually need 10 good views of 10 good people that could and want to buy your product. And that was really interesting because a few people started commenting under it. And there was one lady tagged us in, Di Foster tagged me in another post where this lady had gone viral, and she was millions of views. And she got no business from it. And then all these people had commented under this video, oh yeah, we thought we had to go viral as well. And then we got no business from it as well. And I just know, you will be getting business and you're not going viral. I'm getting business and we're not going viral, but we're consistent and we're bringing in business day in, day out by being consistent. I think that's the thing that I think a lot of people, they don't post on LinkedIn because they think they have to go viral, and they worry about what other people will say if they put a post out and no one likes it or no one sees it.
And also, nowadays, you go viral and you're viral for a week and then it's gone. You're old news. And so, what's the point of chasing that when, in a week's time, something else is going to go viral and someone else is going to have replaced you? So what's the point? And like you said, I mean, social media is great and you can go viral, but if you can't back it up,
No.
what's the point?
Yeah, you're best to just be consistent with, and I love, like one of our core values is influence through insights. And it used to be influence through education. We changed it a wee bit because insights and sharing insights is a wee bit more of what people want today. And I think everyone stands on a amount of knowledge, especially if you're a business owner. Like, you've been doing this how long? In the industry, you've been doing 20 plus years. You've got knowledge inside your head that is valuable to other people. And I challenge everyone, like, get on LinkedIn, share some of that knowledge, share some of those insights, and then be prepared to do it for a year and then watch.
And I think one of the things as well is that a lot of people think that what they put on LinkedIn or social media has to be this curated, always happy, always showing the wins. And I think you see that a lot, particularly on Instagram, with the fitness industry, for example.
Yeah, true.
So I teach fitness classes on the side. So I get a lot of that fitness content. And so 10 years ago, all the fitness content that you were getting on Instagram was like the fit bodies. Everybody was skinny and muscular and stuff. And now you're starting to see, particularly in female fitness influencers, where you start getting a little bit more body rolls. You start getting the not so perfect bodies and the ass that's a little bit flat instead of being the bubble butt. And you start seeing the people calling out the BBLs and the filters and all that. And so you start getting, well, this is what the real fitness industry looks like. And in business, it's very much the same thing. I'm sorry, but if everything you post about is how, many clients you've made and how many millions you've made, at some point I'm going to be like, boring, Totally. Whereas if you go, I screwed up and I made this massive mistake, that cost me this, and this is what I learned from it and I'll never do it again. Well, people go, oh, actually, that person is quite relatable. They're human.
Yeah.
And, or I'll talk about that a bit, but when my mom passed away last year, I posted about it on Instagram, on LinkedIn. And
I can remember reading that.
Yeah, and I went, I'm sorry, I've not spoken to you for 2 weeks. I've dropped the ball. I've missed out some meetings. This is why. This is what happened in my life. And so it was a way of, first, me not having to go back to people individually, but also people go, oh, she's going through shit like all of us.
Oh, that's nice.
And so it just brings the person, it brings the human at the forefront of the relationship, and that's, people work with humans. People work with people, and so that's important as well to have. I don't like using the words like being vulnerable and all that, because it's not just about love, it's just about being real.
Be real.
And it's about, sometimes I don't have any idea, so I'm going to post a weird dad joke, but I'm going to say that's because I don't have any idea for content, so that's what you're getting today.
Yeah. And look, and I think, once again, it doesn't have to be curated, it doesn't have to be perfect, because the reality is life's not perfect, right? And as you say, people will relate to that and respect that, and people, that's why they'll come up to you on the street and go, hey, I really like that post, I really like what you said there, because they can relate to it, and they, at some degree, they respect what you're doing because they'd like to do it themselves, but right now they can't. And I think, no, with those tips though, and what you've just said, I think there's room for people to get on LinkedIn. And I think LinkedIn, to be fair, it's probably it's the platform I like the most, because there's less BS on it, and for me, like, I like that, I'm on Instagram, but I like Facebook because of what I started on Facebook, but I like LinkedIn because there's no bullshit on it.
If you work your algorithm properly,
There
LinkedIn.
used to be a lot of bullshit on LinkedIn.
And
That whole Lion thing, like being a Lion networker.
oh yeah.
That was
There still is. Every now and then I get the AI generated posts about how to use AI to make your CV and
Yep.
make sure that you're going to get a job without a recruiter, that sort of stuff. So I still get those. But generally speaking, if you post enough and you correct your algorithm, you'll get like-minded people, and you'll get the content you'll get the content you want to see.
Another thing we haven't talked about, which I think is important on LinkedIn, is it's a community, right? It's a networking, and so you don't turn up to a party and not talk to people.
That's right.
So you need to network with people, and I think I actually think like LinkedIn is the ultimate warm call. It's like having my game for LinkedIn is always, if I really want to know someone, I'll engage and then I'll invite them for a coffee, not in a weird way because we will have transversed and stuff like that. But we would have engaged and had conversations, and I'm like, I want to take the offline, and have a coffee to find out, if there's something that we can do together and help each other, right? And I think that is a skill too, is being able to then start talking to people, messaging, joining the conversations, and giving your own opinion. I think people will respect that too.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. You any tips for that? Use AI or do it yourself?
No, definitely don't use AI. AI is a tool. God, that could be a whole separate podcast. AI is a tool. It's not a replacement. I use AI, for example, to help me word things out.
Yep.
English is not my first language,
Yep.
and I've never been really good at writing things anyway.
What do you use?
ChatGPT.
Yeah, I use Grammarly.
Yeah,
Thank God for Grammarly.
ChatGPT, and I put my content in there and I say, make it look pretty. And then maybe give me some ideas that I haven't thought about, and give me the articles to back it up.
Yep. Nice.
But that's it. So every content that you'll see from me, it's not AI generated.
Yep.
The AI will help me make it readable, because sometimes the way I write, I'm like, nobody will have to read that. But that's it. So no, don't use AI. And also LinkedIn has a big crackdown on AI and automation.
Yep.
So bots or things like that, or engagement pods get cracked down on by LinkedIn.
I think it's really important to generally reply to people and post, if you posted I replied to someone yesterday, someone's post, and I just generally liked what the girl had written. It was pretty cool, and I she's probably messaged me since then to say, hey, thank you for commenting, and I think that is one of the things you can do as well, is actually message reply to people's posts, especially if you see someone's new, and engage with them, because here's the thing, no one else is, and all of a sudden you're engaging with, and then they start engaging with your content, and it spreads out from there. And I think that's the thing, you wouldn't go to a party and not talk to them.
It invites for a conversation. I made a post not long ago that I knew was going to be controversial, and I knew could potentially rile people up about the rise of the tried-wife movement on Instagram. And so I made a post about it, obviously from a higher perspective, saying, well, these are all the issues that I see about it. And this person commented on my post saying, you know what, I started reading the post and I wanted to comment GTFO.
Yeah.
But actually I read it, and what you said made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And I went, thank you, because we actually started a conversation about it.
Yeah.
Whereas their opinion was quite radically opposite to mine, but we came to an agreement and had a very nice conversation that was, just generated from this post.
Yeah.
And so you always get the weird people and all that sort of stuff, but generally speaking, you'll get the people that want to engage.
Yeah. And look, that's about being adults as well, and there's people out there. Hey, the beautiful part about this world is that people have their own opinions, right? And I think you shouldn't be scared of posting your own thoughts and opinions. And I think LinkedIn is a place that you can do that. And if you're looking to grow a business, it's a great way. Organic content is a great way to get what you think out there in the marketplace and actually help some people. So,
and from a recruitment perspective, we talk about culture a lot, and employees, they'll want to join companies that have a good culture, that have or that have a culture that they relate to and that they feel that it can be part of. And the social media information is part of that, you know. If the company owner is constantly posting racist stuff against immigrants in New Zealand, the people might go, oh, you don't want to do that, you know. But if you share the wins of your company, you know, sure, when you took your highest performance away for the weekend, or you share some love, or put some information out there, people that might go, actually, I want to work for that business because they are doing cool stuff, and the thing they're talking about are the things that I relate to. And so, yes, I'm going to send my application to this company because, well, I feel that I could work with them.
We see CVs every week because of our social media.
Yeah, branding is so important.
And it's people, I like your vibe, I like, you know, we've been looking at you on social media, and I like what you're doing. You made a great post, and I want to talk about this. We got 3 or 4 minutes to go. You said culture isn't created at the pub.
Yes.
I totally disagree. No, I don't disagree. The coolest thing is, when that post you talked about the Amazing Race. Now we're going to talk quietly because tomorrow we've got our first ever Amazing Race that we're doing here.
It is so much
fun. And I'm
fun.
super excited because we have a social committee, and like Will, it's his debut. Kellyanne left and went to Australia. She was on the social committee, and Will applied to be on the social committee. He's created one of the funniest videos I've ever seen, and it's his debut tomorrow. And the people, no one knows apart from me, him, and Bronte, that we're doing Amazing Race. And so I thought it was really cool how you see culture as a creator of the pub, because I really believe, you know, like those kind of things, you know, build what you're doing and in and around it, and it puts layers on top of stuff like that, right?
Yeah. And in one of the reasons I said that as well is that for me, for example, I'm not a drinker. I drink very rarely.
Yeah.
So if your idea of culture is every Friday at 3:00 we go to the pub, well, I might go once, but then I'm probably not going to go for another 6 weeks because it's not something I do. And so I'm not going to be part of that culture where I want to be. And it's a whole lot that was actually part of a series of posts that I made because I actually run a poll. And it's about the people, it's about the opportunities within the business, it's about the projects, and kind of generally what came out of that was people being allowed to be their own selves and their authentic selves, and being the main cultural element that people are looking after, which might be, I don't drink.
Yeah, and look, I think this is where times have changed too. You know, I was brought up in an era where, hey, Friday you had drunks and everyone was expected to be there. You know, I worked in the building industry. There was there was baths full of beer and stuff like that. It was crazy. You know, to the point. But we had a chill out room. We had a fridge stocked full of drinks. And it's interesting. Like, I don't think I've actually had to refill it for a long time. But tomorrow we'll have a couple of drinks and we're going to do our Amazing Race, and like it will be buzzing. And then we go for dinner. We actually, there's a bunch of stuff happening, and like I love doing that sort of stuff too. You know, like because there is people here that don't drink, and there's people here that do drink. So it's like it's the best of both worlds. So.
And you know, when you're 22, 23, 24, you don't have kids, you don't have a mortgage, you can't go out every Friday. But then, you know, I'm 37, I don't have children, but some people do, and so you can't just go and get on the sauce every Friday night because you've got responsibilities at home, you know. So it's just and you know, it's people want, again, it comes down to what we were talking about in terms of the values and posting on LinkedIn. People want to work with like-minded people, right? And so if I'm the only one that doesn't go out to the pub every Friday night, well, there's a point I'm going to go, well, why am I doing it? Because that's what everybody is doing. So why I actually don't have anything in common with those people. So it's, and don't get me wrong, I think it's also important. I think it's also something that needs to be done every now and then. Yes, we're gonna get, you know, we're gonna go out tonight and we're gonna have fun and we're gonna have a party. Yes, 100%. But it can't be just that. It has to be other stuff.
It has to be other stuff. Very, very cool. Hey, one last question. What's the gift that business is giving you?
I can think of several. The gift of time. Even though I feel like I don't have time, but I have the luxury to organize my time, which means that therefore I can prioritize the things that are important to me.
That is awesome.
And I learned a lot about myself. So I guess a gift of knowledge. I didn't think I could do it. I wasn't in it for the long haul. It wasn't something that I
you were left for 2 weeks, right?
It pretty much. And so I didn't think I could run a business. I didn't think I was commercially minded.
Yes.
Turns out I am.
Yeah.
And that's been quite good to figure things that I'm good at and not good at, and admit when I need help. And I thought I could do that, but actually I can't. Or
That's so good.
actually, I'm actually really good at this.
And that takes a level of awareness, and to ask for help and get help as well. And I think, there's not a business owner in the world that is self-made. Like we all get help, and all that's the coolest thing I know about business owners. This was the biggest thing for me moving from corporate to I started my own business. So I didn't understand. I was kind of taught business owners are greedy, business owners are that. Then I started meeting business owners, and I realized that was actually the opposite. The corporates were the greedy ones, and the business owners were actually really helpful and useful and wanted you to win. And you ask a business owner, and they'll actually give you time and help, which is what I love about business.
Yeah.
I love how you said that your business is giving you the gift of time, but the reason it's giving you the gift of time is you organize that time.
Yeah.
And I think that's really, really important, because you can. This stuff's met a lot of business owners that are just busy, and they haven't prioritized the number of what they're good at and what they can be doing too. So
No, I've been through burnout, working 70 hours a week, and as I said before, I teach fitness classes, and that's something that's very, very important to me. That's my paid hobby, and that's something that I love to do. And so I organize my day around those classes, and so I know that sometimes I have a class that's going to take me up until that time. So I only have technically that many hours left in my day.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to be efficient. And so the ability to say, this is what I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to organize my day. And also, I'm not a morning person. So starting at 8 o'clock or something like that, it's just not for me. I don't do it. Quite happy to work until 6, 7 o'clock, or work in the evenings. Just the mornings, I'm not good with it. And so being able to be flexible and work when I feel like working and I know I'm at my most efficient, it's been pretty awesome.
So good. What a great conversation. Like, seriously, the 60 odd minutes now. I really appreciate you coming on. You've shared some really cool stuff, like right from like core values and really understanding how I take some really good takeaways there. And then obviously our discussion on LinkedIn. I think we could probably go for another a half an hour at least. And we didn't even touch AI. We didn't even talk about technology, to be fair. So I might have to have you back at some stage. Yeah. So, hey, look, I really appreciate you coming on. And look, if people want to get a hold of you, where's the best place?
Yeah, LinkedIn is a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Usually find me on LinkedIn, or my email address, Chloe at exorecruitment.co.nz, but find me on LinkedIn.
Sweet. Well, we'll put your LinkedIn details and your website, etc., in the show notes, and all the content that we put out online. I'm sure there'll be a couple of videos on LinkedIn. Hey, so if you do see the content, make sure you share it. And we really appreciate people, sharing the content of the podcast. It's been really, really good. Just yesterday, back in the top 5 for marketing in New Zealand. We've been in I think the top 1, 2, 3, 4 is Podchaser releases it. So it's been really, really good. Great to have people on, but it's really good to hear people sharing the content. And that's what I love about the business community of New Zealand. Like, you are sharing the content, and it keeps us fueled to bring on guests, and up to when this episode's released, we'll be around 170, which is really, really cool. And it's great. So hey, thanks for your time, Chloe. Right, your job now is to go out there, have some fun, take action, and as always, celebrate your victories.